Welcome back, everybody. You're watching TTBurger, who's here on YouTube. We're continuing my TTBurger Sega Timber Extravaganza. Continues for one more week. You have a couple more games to get through before we start the Halloween season here. And welcome to another regular TTBurger review here, episode 295, part 1 of one part, inching closer and closer to episode 300. I have something big planned for that, so be on the lookout, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be big and intense, and I know you'll enjoy it. And right now we're going to look at a Sega racing game today. There were a lot of Sega racing game franchises out there, mainly Sega Rally and Daytona USA, and more and more and more. And this one was first released in the arcades, then later ported to the Sega Saturn. And this one here is Daytona USA. This was everywhere in the arcades and the Sega Saturn. You couldn't get enough of Daytona. There were a lot of games based on Daytona. You had the Indy 500 games, the NASCAR games. But there was a Sega game here called Daytona USA, which was on October 25th, 2011, which was the PS3 version. The arcade version was released in the early 90s and ported to Sega Saturn a couple years later. We're going to look at the HD version of Daytona USA, also known as Daytona USA HD. So let's get started here, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot to say here. Ah yes, good old Daytona, Florida. Home of some of the best racers and races ever in the United States. You had NASCAR and the F1 championships and the Daytona 500. Most of the popular races were there. Daytona USA as an arcade racer holds memories for all of us growing up in the 90s, going to the local arcade or bowling alleys and spending the quarters to get far in the game and more. How does Daytona USA hold up today as an arcade racer? Well, it is a good game, but it has aged not so good. Sure, it has its fun racing mechanics that inspired many racing games in the future, such as Burning Road on the PlayStation, also known as Daytona USA, is what many people call it, because it's just like Daytona USA, but on Burning Road and everything. And it has fun factor to it, where you and your friends can have fun just racing to get to first place. The problem is, like an arcade racer, it is over before you know it. Daytona USA has a couple of modes of play, such as the original arcade version, along with some challenge modes, such as endurance, survival, and more. And there is also, I'm not kidding, a karaoke mode. That's right, you have a karaoke mode for the songs in the game that have lyrics to them while racing at the same time. This is a fun mode here, coming from someone who enjoys singing karaoke in real life. I love it. I love it, I can't tell how much I love it. Daytona USA is set up like this. You pick your mode, choose your difficulty setting, your transmission setting, you're off to the race. As we start the races here, the graphics are good for an early Sega arcade racer. Sure, there's nothing special nowadays, but back then this was awesome. The cars look good and have a great amount of detail to them. Same with the courses, all running at a slick, smooth frame rate with no dips in it at all. The races are fast and intense. You'll go so fast you will not know when to stop. You have 3 courses and they get harder each time. 2 vehicles that are transmission settings, automatic and manual. The damage effects look cool, a little awkward looking but cool at the same time. The controls are good, you will get used to them in no time. This is a fun game with extra modes and more. The problem is, once you see everything, you see it all. That's it. There's not much to the package, and I understand that this is an arcade racer. I just wish this version had some extras is all. I mean, you got your modes here, you got your extra modes. It does have some form of fun, but you can just see everything very quickly. And is this a bad thing? No, but it's not a good thing either. Just saying. I mean, it's Daytona USA. I mean, one of the first arcade racers, and it still holds up well just compared to today. It just feels a little outdated. It doesn't age the best. Is what I'm saying there, ladies and gentlemen. And we had Sega Rally there, which was a little better too, but we'll talk about Sega Rally another time. But now, before we can even give this game a score, let's go to our TTBurger pros and cons. For TTBurger Pros, Daytona USA comes to the next generation consoles in HD. Reliving the arcade days with this game has its fun moments. The graphics still look decent to this day. The soundtrack is top notch with the vocal and the lyrics. Extra modes such as karaoke mode are enjoyable. Challenge factor is intense. It has inspired many racing games of the future such as Burning Road. For the TTBurger cons, not really much content here. You'll see everything in pretty much under an hour. The graphics, while good, do not age the best. You only have 3 courses and 2 vehicles. The game is aged not so well, it's over before you know it. So what can I give this game as a score here? Daytona USA HD per se gets a 7.5 out of 10. It is the best score to give it because of some of the problems I have with it, but still a good racer for the Sega consoles and more. And if you want some Sega racing, here you go, this is for you. And that's it for this episode here. We have 2 more episodes for Sega September Extravaganza before we move on to the Halloween theme. So be on the lookout for that. What we cover next, find out, which all I gotta say is Tony, peace out, have a good day, and see you all in the next video.